I have lived with anxiety my entire life, and I did not get diagnosed with anxiety disorder until the age of 25. And looking back at my childhood, there were a lot of things, a lot of signs, a lot of symptoms that I was going through that I would say were overlooked at the time. Now, I grew up in Pakistan. I immigrated to America when I was 8. So growing up in a Pakistani culture and a Pakistani community, there is massive misunderstanding when it comes to anxiety. Not only misunderstanding, but also just this stigma around it. So a lot of the things that were overlooked, I definitely forgive my parents because they did not know what they did not know, correct? But when we moved to America, at the age of 8 and beyond, that's when I really started to notice certain aspects of myself that were, now that looking back at it, were anxiety related. So I just wanted to share a couple of those things with you who may be watching, whether you have kids or now in your adult age, you're probably looking back and thinking, oh my gosh, that was anxiety all along. Or maybe you're younger and you're thinking, could this possibly be anxiety? Now, as I do with all my videos here on my channel, please know that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist. Everything that I'm sharing is my own personal story and my journey, but I'm hoping that you find hope and comfort in all the things I talk about, because anxiety is actually incredible and it can really teach you a lot about your life and who you are. So with that being said, I wanted to make this video completely raw and unedited and just kind of give you my thoughts. So I'm going to go through 3 things that I had when I was younger, when I was little, specifically when I was 11, 12, 13. A few things that looking back were definitely symptoms of anxiety. The first one was reassurance, needing reassurance constantly. I remember I would always go to my mom and dad wanting to be reassured that I was okay. If something was bugging me, if something was bothering me, whether it was at school or my personal life, I was always worried. There was always this sense of worry. I would feel worried very easily. Things would hit me differently, and I would really think about them a lot. And I was very creative from the get-go. My dad tells me to this day that when I was little, I used to just draw. I would used to just sit in the corner and do something creative. So again, creatives are very prone to anxiety because it's the same part of your brain that develops creativity and harnesses creativity. You're able to use that and make it into kind of an anxiety building thing. So the what if scenarios really come up for creatives. So I really needed reassurance all the time. I was a worried kid. I would worry about the tiniest things. I would always ask my mom and dad, is this going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? And reassurance is a very common symptom of anxiety because it goes back to the what if and what could possibly go wrong. And then going back to the creativity side, I think the second thing was isolation and being alone. I loved isolation, meaning I loved being by myself and just being in my own mode, just zenning out and drawing and creating. And to this day, I love being able to create on my own. There's therapy to it. It's very therapeutic. Now I'm the second youngest of 6 kids. So my family was huge, Pakistani family, massive. So there was not a lot of space for yourself. But whenever I could find space, I would really isolate myself. This is a very common symptom of those who struggle with anxiety. It's really interesting too because you want to isolate yourself and you want to be alone and you want to create alone. But when you're going through very difficult bouts of anxiety and panic attacks, you are afraid to be alone. You don't want to be alone. You want to cling on, going back to the reassurance thing. When I first started really experiencing symptoms of panic attacks in my mid-20s, right before I got married to my wife, I remember I would always be like, please, I don't want to be alone, because you don't know what's going to happen and you're really nervous. You're, again, the what if, like what if I have a heart attack? What if this or that happens? So I really remember isolation was huge for me, and I feel like that was kind of, again, like a telltale sign of anxiety. And then the third one, that looking back at it, very minor symptom of anxiety, but very much so anxiety related, is perfectionism. I really found myself being a perfectionist when it came to anything, schoolwork, my drawings, anything creative. Nothing could ever be completed. I just wanted to keep tinkering away at it, just wanting it to be perfect. And it's this sense of like you have to have things exactly the way they need to be, and they have to be a certain way or it's not good enough. That is a symptom of those who really struggle with anxiety. And these are 3 of many things that, looking back, I knew were telltale signs of what I have anxiety now as an adult. So why am I sharing this with you? A lot of you who follow me on any platform, You have asked me to talk about anxiety in kids and how to manage that and how to talk to kids about anxiety, and I will definitely create a video on that. But I wanted to share a few different things that as adults that we struggle with in our anxious symptoms with our anxieties. Those are things that also kids have, and it kind of develops from that. And if it's not really focused in on or helped through, it could really turn into something else. So our son Malik, he's 5, and if I notice anything that might be bothering him, I really allow him to feel his feelings, but we really focus and work on making sure that he understands what it is he's feeling, and just being there and aware for him. Again, no blame on my parents or the culture, anything like that. They did the best they could with what they had, and we can do the best we can do with what we have. We have a lot more knowledge and a lot more understanding of mental health. And so that's why it's really important to not only talk about it amongst ourselves as adults, but also talk about it with kids as well, making sure that they are seen and heard, especially in today's world with social media and just all the dopamine that is surrounding them. So it's very obvious why kids struggle with anxiety, because of all the things that are going around the world right now. So it's very important to open up about it and talk about it. I really hope this helped you. If you are struggling with anxiety, or you have a child who's going through anxiety, or looking back at different telltale signs that you may have missed, hope this helped, and thank you for being here. I hope you're having a great day, and I'm looking forward to creating more important educational anxiety related content for you. Have a great day.